So, Annie, when people think of the South, what do they most misunderstand about the region, and what do you think actually defines the region?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think a lot of it depends on you have multiple misperceptions, right? So you've got the misperception that Southerners have of themselves. You have a misperception of cultural and social memory that the American public has of themselves and the region. And then you're currently seeing historians that are coming out that are also misunderstanding Southern culture and the region as a whole. When people talk about the South, I think they really think about the darkness, right? They think about slavery, they think about the Civil War and Reconstruction. They think about Jim Crow and oppression, segregation. They think about the photos from the Civil Rights era. They think about a lot of the negative aspects of the South. However, I think what is often misunderstood is that out of those kind of times, and while that history is certainly clearly very true, I think that what's come out of that, right? Plantation culture, slavery, Jim Crow, the Civil War, there's a lot of culture that's come out of that, right? So you've got this very deep and wide breadth of music, food, writing that has come out of those times, and it's prolific and it has had a wide impact on American history in a way that is often not really talked about. And so, it's really like out of pain comes these, I don't want to say light, but it is true. Like out of people are writing and experiencing these really horrible, dark things. And then out of that comes this really strong and unique culture that has impacted American history, impacted American culture that we still see kind of rippling through the American identity today. I also think, in general, I think people really misunderstand how diverse the South is. Not only do we have a lot of different types of people, different cultures here, but there are multiple regions in the South, right? Arkansas is very different from North Carolina. So we're sitting in North Carolina, but North Carolina is very different from Florida. There are different dialects, there's different food, there's just a different culture depending on where you are in the South. And so while the South has a very distinct, I think, identity, I think it's one of the only regions in the United States that has this people from the South, they really identify with being Southern. Whereas if you go to New England, if you go to the West Coast, I don't really hear people talk about, I'm a New Englander, I'm a West Coaster. People don't really talk about that in the same way that Southerners do, and that Southerners really strongly identify with that distinct Southern culture. And I don't think if you're from here, you necessarily understand that. So I think that's kind of widely misunderstood.